this place smelled like BO. It smelled like wet ass. It smelled so bad. There's this one dude who kept trying to fight Trace.
So I think I accidentally like spilled some sort of like essential oil or something onto this sweater because
fantastic,
I washed it and it's like very intoxicatingly like strong, the smell.
That's nice.
But like I don't know
You
if
don't
it's
like it?
He doesn't like it.
He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
He does not like it.
I like my own smell, bro.
Your own scent. Alrighty. Okay. Shall we?
We
Do you wanna count us
shall in 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Three Wise Guys podcast.
I missed the countdown.
I said
Well,
4, 3, 2, 1.
He did a full countdown.
I missed it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
full
I'm
countdown.
back.
You did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I've definitely asked you this before when you were on the podcast. I'll ask it again just for the sake of entertainment. What's up with the hat?
So I remembered our YouTube logins today. No, I actually always remember them. I just don't log into our YouTube even though I'm supposed to be managing it. And I saw that there were a number of comments calling me Genghis Khan when I wore this.
Actually,
And I like that
He's
tonality.
worn this before.
I like that tonality. I am Genghis Khan.
I love that.
I'm not Genghis
I love
Khan.
it. I can't.
What do you
complain
mean?
about
Why
it.
aren't you? You're fucking a
I
descendant
can't
of
claim
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan, bro. He destroyed my people.
What, are you a descendant of Genghis Khan?
Probably.
Because he destroyed
Because he
his people.
destroyed my people.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Was he Asian?
He was a Mongol.
Okay, so
So he
was
was
that East
Mongolian.
Asian?
Yeah, he was Asian.
Okay.
Was it the Genghis Khan Mongols that came and took Iran too, or Persia?
It is.
Yeah, it's the same ones. Yeah.
Why don't you guys look alike?
The way that we look alike.
Somewhere along the way, his relatives did not stray far from the family.
They all stayed close.
They
No,
all stayed
okay.
very close.
Yes, this is true.
Shout out Genghis Khan.
Well, yeah, it's good to be back. I was away last time. How was the episode last time? I listened to it a little bit. Did you guys enjoy it?
Yeah, I think it was good.
Yeah. You guys talked about Vegas. I was in Vegas.
Ooh, okay.
Oh yeah, ironically, we were talking about like the Vegas basketball team thing, and honestly, man, like sports is the best illustration of inflation, man. The crux of what I got from that conversation is the Celtics are worth $6.4 billion, which is like one of the most recognized sports franchises like in the world.
So are you saying that's too small of an amount or
Well,
too much
Vegas
of an amount?
is apparently like projected to be like 8, right?
That's correct.
Like the fact that the new team is projected to be more valuable than one of the most like popular sport franchises, just from my perspective. I don't know if it's true, but like I think people in China know the Celtics. You know what I mean? Just because of their runs and like Larry Bird and all this stuff, like iconic team, right? Like I don't know what the Vegas team's gonna be.
I've heard people in China know the Lakers way more than they know the Celtics.
Definitely.
They know the Rockets.
They know
in
the
China.
Rockets too.
They
Yeah,
know the Rockets in China.
Yeah. Well, Vegas is cool. If you think it's everything that people tell you it is, it is. It's kind of an insane place where it's just an adult theme park that's disguising itself as a city. I don't think it's a real city. I don't think things actually happen there.
Okay.
But it's very fun.
Did you go off the strip or?
I did go off the strip. So I did one small, very short-lived trip off the strip for good reason. So my coworker, shout out Trace, probably not listening to this. Yeah. I've talked about Trace before in the house.
Oh, Mr. Like Texas. Mr. Texas.
Texas.
He taught me a lot about guns. He's a cool guy. I actually love him. But he was very adamant that we go to Fremont Street. I don't know if you guys know what Fremont Street is.
It
Have you ever heard
sounds
of it?
like familiar, but not in like a good way.
Yeah, it's
that's
not
just
in
a
a good way
vibe.
at all.
Like,
It's not in a good way at all. It is a version of the strip, basically, if you can't afford to go to the strip.
Oh,
Essentially is what it is. It's an outdoor mall. Is one big straight line of walking, and there is a cover on over it. That's it's like a video board that covers like a dome and it goes down. And there's a zip line that goes from one end of the street all the way to the other end of the street.
That sounds fun.
And yeah, I'm sure it does. And then it sounded fun to me too. There's a few specific like casinos there. There are stripping joints there. But more importantly, there's a lot of smelly people. It was like the grungiest thing I'd ever seen in my life. My eyes started to swell up when I got there because
Worse than East Hastings?
Well, no.
Okay.
No, not worse than although East Hastings Street is open air.
Okay.
It's good. There's no enclosure here. Because I've walked down. Actually, no, I didn't walk down East Hastings. I drove down East Hastings Street. So I don't know exactly how much it smells. To be honest, I kind of stayed away from there for the most part. But this place smelled like BO. It smelled like wet ass. It smelled so bad. There's this one dude who kept trying to fight Trace. Like he was walking and this guy just started hurling insults at him, calling him awful things, threatening to start a fight with him. Trace is a soldier, right? So he's like, he obviously didn't react or anything like that. But
only in the US could you say some shit like Trace is a soldier. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, we know what the type of person he is.
Yeah, he was very like stoic about the whole thing, right?
No.
So anyways,
why did Trace want to go to the street?
He was like, Arya, you're Canadian. You have to see this. You're gonna love it. He was so excited about it.
So now you're Canadian.
I was there with me. My director went, and one of our other coworkers went, and I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, let's check out East Hastings, and your American coworkers want to show you things. You're like, all right, yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean? What did I know? My director was like, yeah, I don't know about that. I haven't heard good things about Fremont Street. and my other coworker he's a colleague of mine. And he didn't say anything. He just kind of went along with it. He just wanted to gamble.
Is he American or?
All of them are American.
Okay.
And yeah, we get there. My director was not pleased at all by the situation. He wanted to get out of there. I was trying to give it a shot, and then I was like, I think I'm gonna let this one go. And then we walked from one end to the other, and then we called an Uber and went back. And I can say that I went to Fremont Street, but it's one of those things you have to see it to really understand. But it was not really. I mean, Luke is looking at pictures right now. There was like on the street, there's a mix of everybody. There's children in families, right?
I have heard of this. Yes, actually. I've seen these photos
this
before.
This is the dome that I was talking about, where it just kind of goes over and there's a zip line in there. So there's bars outside, and then there's people that are doing like performances, and then there's people that are like shooting up heroin right next to them. And it's all happening in one place. And then there's like strippers on the bars. You know what I mean? But they were not like. Is it bad if I say they weren't good strippers? Is that a bad thing to say? I don't mean to be disrespectful. It's just they were not elegant at all.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
I think it takes a lot for you to say that. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
It was not great. There was funny booty shorts with like funny saying. I can't even remember them, but it was just like some obscene shit happening. And then there's literal families like walking with their kids there too. And I saw two people who had just gotten married. So on the way to Fremont Street is where all of those chapels in Vegas are. The ones where people go do the day of elopements and things like that. Or you ever watch The Hangover?
Yeah.
Like is in that area where like the chapel that they went to. And so I saw two like couples, like bride and groom, who had just gotten married and were out on Fremont Street taking in the air.
Do you think they're still together?
I don't know. They just got married. I hope they're together.
No.
Isn't it true that the less you spend on your wedding, the more likely it is that you'll have a longer marriage or not divorce?
Yeah, well, I see that.
Or vice versa. Is if you the more like there's no positive correlation with spending more on your wedding versus how long your marriage is gonna last.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, I think like, you know, I had one of my ex clients like ran basically like party passes in Vegas, and like one of the things he was kind of telling me is over the last like 4 to 5 years, like because he was basically saying like in the past, like Vegas used to be a spot where like, you know, the average Joe in the U.S. like wants to go to, exactly as you say, like adult Disney World, like let loose, like spend a bag, maybe buy a couple bags, enjoy themselves. You know what I mean? Like it was like a destination for the everyman. But then what seems to be happening is like more and more Vegas is becoming the business epicenter, like, and they can sustain themselves just on that. And like, funny enough, that's actually the reason you went, right? Like you went for a conference.
Trip, yeah.
And from what I'm hearing is kind of like everything is getting more and more expensive because people are coming and spending like company money instead of their own personal money. And it sounds like, at least from his perspective, like a lot of he's basically like, Vegas is just different now. Like people say Vegas is dead. Vegas is just not the everyman's destination. Like, did you feel some of that, or
it wasn't necessarily dead? Although I didn't go to any clubs. I didn't go to any clubs. Like we went out to dinner. We went out to dinners, and then the one night that we like went out, I really was not in the mood. But in the one night that we went out was Neo came and performed at the closing ceremony for the conference, which was pretty. It was like in a private beach at the Mandalay Bay Hotel with his 4 girlfriends. We already talked about this. He brought his polyamorous girlfriends on stage.
I was not a part of this conversation.
No, so I was telling D when I came back from the trip, I was like, I saw Neo, and he's like, cool. Yeah. And I was like, there were 4 women that came on the stage, and you know, a couple of them were singing at one point, and D's like, I think those are his girlfriends.
I think I was like, I wonder if they were his girlfriends. Yeah.
And they were. I Googled it, and I was like, yeah, no, I recognize them. They were on stage.
Turns out they were his girlfriends. He's just doing the age-old performer thing of marrying all his backup singers and dancers. And then instead of like paying them, I don't know if he's doing this. I'm just fucking teasing.
It's full-blown speculation right now. So it's not okay in the markets. It's okay if we do it when it comes to
so
Neo.
It's both ass and a tax write-off. That's
like, you know what I mean? Ass and tax write-off. And it's like, yeah, no, you live with me. Don't worry. I don't need to pay you that much. I'll just buy you clothes. You guys can share the clothes too.
Yeah, they share a mansion in Atlanta. Yeah. I found an article, and while we were trying to verify it, and yeah, they live in Atlanta happily.
One mansion's better than 4 homes.
How much do you think Neo got paid to do a show at the end of this conference? It was Shop Talk.
That's a great question.
It's one of the largest like e-commerce retail conferences.
And did he have a residency in Vegas already? Or?
No, I don't think so.
Between 50 and 150.
It was like an hour show. It was an hour show.
An hour, maybe maybe literally 80? Between I think between 80? 50 and 150, somewhere in that range for sure.
You don't think it's over? I think it's over 150, but not that much more.
I feel like it's 80 plus like a bunch of like
the rider,
the accommodation, and like all that stuff, and like that doesn't include like fees for maybe. Does it? Does it usually include fees for like your team and stuff? Like the backup dancers, transportation to get the stuff there.
It was a very bare bones show. It was like a DJ. It was him. There wasn't even like crazy lighting going on.
Oh yeah,
you know, his 4 ladies showed
up. 4 backup singers. That's fine.
His girlfriends.
They didn't come in until like 3/4 of the show were already done.
Oh really?
Yeah. It was so random. All of a sudden they're on the stage, and I'm like, whoa! They're all wearing fishnets. You know. I was like, who brought the strippers on stage?
You were like, they were on Fremont Street.
I was like, oh, these are not the ones I see on Fremont. Actually, they're not the ones I see on Fremont Street.
Lord, yeah.
If you go to Fremont Street, you'll understand that they're not the ones that were on Fremont Street, dude.
Oh my god.
Going to Fremont Street will make you never want to go back to Fremont Street.
Okay. And final question from, I guess, like as our last episode, I think the question we were pondering, we went through all the cities that had all the 4 major teams. I think we found 7 or 8. Do you think Vegas can be the 9th?
Vegas is huge. Everything there is big because there's so many people there. You know, like so I stayed in the New York. Right behind it was like at the edge of the strip. Right behind it is the stadium where the Golden Knights play. So it's like incredibly accessible, specifically where all the tourists are. And then the football stadium was right behind the Mandalay Bay, which is like, yeah, literally right there. Like that's where the Raiders play. You know what I mean? So if they can keep everything kind of in that one, condensed area, and there's always people that are going to be there, and there's always people that, want to do things. I think there's enough demand for it, but that's only if like tourism rises, because I think it's on a little bit of a slide in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. Sure. So, I mean, if you're putting up a baseball team or whatever, and in a, like if the like aviators, that's weird.
Yeah, apparently they're getting a baseball team.
The A's are becoming the aviators.
Yeah,
they went from the athletics to the A's to the aviators.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like the 2029 Vegas did the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Yep, the last Kansas City one. 2029 one's already back in Vegas.
Really? Yeah.
Like it's already confirmed.
Well, because for these specialty shows, it's perfect.
Yeah.
People will come far and wide. There's no shortage of hotels, right? There's no shortage of extra things to do outside of just that one thing. People will come and make a full trip of it. It is definitely a worthwhile place to go for things like that. But like, I don't know, an 82 game season, 160 game season, if you're doing the MLB, I don't know.
That's a good point. Like, I wonder how the MLB will work out. Well, and here's the thing, right? Like when you think about the wider network where it's like, okay, there's that interconnected, relationship with the hotels and stuff. Like we know this, like even in Toronto, like, when you buy specific types of seats over and over again, those start to be prioritized. And like, they're going to cut deals, right? Like they're probably going to cut deals with hotels where it's like, if you can probably redeem certain points for like tickets for baseball games or whatever. And I was actually going to say, I actually think, arguably speaking, like there's a fifth sport out there, which is F1. If you think about that,
it's already there. Right?
It's like there's none.
There's very. I walked by the grandstand actually in Vegas. It was right behind the Topgolf. But yeah, there's the Vegas Grand Prix.
That's so like an international like event, right? And it's like most of those cities that have the like four major teams, like they do not have an F1 race in their city.
That's so true.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. Vegas is here to stay, man.
Vegas is, and it's crazy. It's so well organized. I was waiting for an Uber to go to one of the restaurants, which was on the map. It said maybe a 10-minute walk. And by the way, when you look at Vegas, like on the strip, everything looks like it's very walkable and very short. But you're going to be walking for an hour, which is exactly what I ended up doing one of the nights. But when you drive, it's like 5 minutes because people don't cross the street. There's bridges that go over all
pedestrian.
So the cars are just going. You know what I mean? It's quite a marvelous thing. And then they have like one train shuttle from the Mandalay Bay to the Excalibur, which brings you to the top of the strip. And then they have another shuttle in the middle of it that goes from like MGM Park all the way to like the Bellagio. So you can take the train, up and down the strip if you're trying to get somewhere quick.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
See, like Toronto and Canada needs to take a page from that book. Like Mark Carney, I don't know. Did he promise us he was gonna do that? Like, is he doing that?
Promise us what? Like,
yeah, but Poilievre is. I don't know.
He wants to do it.
You think he's the guy that's gonna figure out how to get us organized? Like, we finally have a pedestrian bridge for the World Cup now.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, no, we had that.
No.
But they did it because the World Cup was coming.
They did it because the World Cup was coming. Like, it was partially completed.
Change exhibition, and you need to do all of that.
Yeah. But I mean, like Poilievre, I feel like is doing this big media push now.
He is.
And like, I don't know, like you guys are the Canadians in the room. Like, what do you think?
I'm kind of like, why is he doing that?
Same.
I'm confused as well.
I'm genuinely kind of like, the election is not going to happen for a while. And like, I guess he's just like, it's a very politically tumultuous time, I guess, which is why he's like just trying to capitalize. But I'm like, honestly, dude, like, the last thing we want to hear is another person's fucking opinion. I'm sorry to hear. We want shit done, man.
Literally.
Like, dude, I listened to that Joe Rogan podcast and I'm just like, this guy like probably spent 2 weeks like talking to like a PR instructor, and then went immediately into that room. Like I was like,
really? You sounded that rehearsed?
No, I was just like,
he always sounds pretty rehearsed.
He's a good speaker, you know what I mean? But I was like, I felt like he was really trying to like
come off as a bro.
I don't know how to describe this except like
genuine.
You know, like when we go to like, I don't know, we go to like Fat, for example, and we're like, all right, like Luke, try to like make friends with like the Cronenberg like guy, you know what I mean? And then like in my head ass is like, all right, like how do I get this guy to like me? Like it felt like that. Like he was doing that to Joe.
Yeah, like he went in there with a mission and he's like trying to just figure out like how he can achieve the goal, and it's just it comes off the exact opposite of what I haven't seen any of the interviews.
I saw the Diary of a CEO one where he talked about. So I didn't know this, but yeah, I knew Pierre Poilievre was adopted. I don't know if you knew this. He's adopted.
Oh, I did not know that.
He's adopted. And his adopted dad is gay.
Oh shit!
And yeah, he came out. Why are you laughing?
It's
Luke,
working.
Why are you laughing? Luke, explain to everyone in the audience why
I'm just like, why are you laughing? This guy went on a political podcast, and the first thing you're saying is that his dad is gay. Like, not like he made this great point about energy.
No, you didn't. Listen, I don't think anything that he said. Okay. I'll give my opinion on this press run that he's doing, right? I think that he's doing it because his reputation was so severely damaged after the last election. He's trying to make up for lost time. I think everyone has heard his opinions. Yeah. We know what he thinks, especially because Mark Carney stole his opinions and basically made them his own. What he's doing right now, he's trying to get people to like know him. So like all the clips that I've seen online that go viral are him talking about his personal life. You know, like his adopted dad. Yeah, I'm laughing because you laughed. All right, his adopted dad being gay. You know what I mean? Like things like that is let people know him. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool to see, but I mean, yeah, you're right. Like the election's a long ways away. I really just think he's making up for lost time.
Yeah, and Carney's approval rating is like I think a historical high right now.
Insane. Yeah,
it's like 67%. Like I just didn't understand. I remember I was asking Arya. I was like, hey, like, can someone call an election soon? Like, what's happening? Like when we brought it up, I was like, what's going on here?
The Conservative Party doesn't want to let go of him as their leader.
Yeah.
So they still think they're going to have a chance at the next one. They need to plant early seeds.
Yeah, they need to plant. Well,
because he, if you remember, the biggest criticism for Pierre Poilievre during the election was that he's very unlikable.
Yeah.
Even people who normally vote conservative were like, this guy's really unlikable. They were like, remember the Apple clip? You remember the one where he's in an orchard? And it was like he's eating an apple and he was talking about the government and he was talking shit and he was very smug. Yeah. And people like he thought that was a really good thing, and you know the conservative press tried to run it really well, but it didn't land because people just thought he was very arrogant. You know,
I think to me. Sorry, the reason I was dying earlier is like I'm so
I know why you were dying, Luke.
No, I was dying for a second reason actually, and I will say the second reason. I was dying because I'm so used to the American political system that the moment you started talking about like Pierre like wanting people to get like to know him better, I started thinking like if this guy was running against Trump would probably start tweeting like his dad's not gay, we've never seen proof, he's trying to do this to drum up the allies. I have video of him kissing a woman. Like, I was just thinking about that. But on a serious note,
he would get crushed in a debate against Trump.
He gets so angry.
He would get so flustered. He would not know what to do with Trump. On the other hand, I think Mark Carney it would be actually very interesting to see Mark Carney debate Trump.
It would definitely be better. But I think the problem with Pierre is like the Trudeau to Mark transition was like the whole branding of Pierre versus Trudeau is Trudeau's like this young kind of like the attractive looking guy who's like people thought was charismatic, but he's very like innocent. He lacks experience. Like that was the vibe I felt like. Okay. And then people were like, Pierre is this guy who's kind of an asshole, but he's like very serious. He comes from a political like background, like he's gonna get shit done. Yeah. And then when Mark Carney came in, they were like, oh, this guy's also serious. Yeah. Like this guy also knows his stuff.
But he's not an asshole.
So then they were like, oh, maybe we start to like not evaluate people just on like the seriousness thing. Cause it's kind of like branding, right? Like when you think about it, it's like the reason why Apple and Samsung are like so separate is because they brand themselves differently. Like if they branded themselves similarly, one of them would definitely crush each other. You know what I mean? There's a reason why they're kind of like adjacent. So I feel like, but sorry, my brain is distracted.
No, it's very valid. It's very valid and speaks to a little bit of like the political dynamics here in Canada. But
Yeah.
Hey, Pierre, good luck, man. Like we're noticing it. Like, we're seeing you. We don't understand what you're doing, but we're seeing you.
We're seeing you. That is the, and I think that's
that's
the point, right?
So,
You're in the zeitgeist.
You're in the zeitgeist.
absolutely
At
in
the
the
next
zeitgeist.
election, young people will know who you are.
Yeah,
So
I
good
don't know,
job, at least.
Yeah, you just need to come up with new ideas because Carney really did do everything. Did everything.
That's mine.
Did everything you said you were gonna do.
Carney,
Gone.
Yo, low key, bro. Like you look at like the Carney at the end of this election run. Guys had a pretty fucking impressive career, man.
Good run.
Like one of headed the bank when we were one of the only countries to not go through a major fucking recession in 2008, and then the UK, and then now becoming the prime. Pretty insane run, dude.
Great career. That was honestly why he got voted.
Yeah,
that is his career. Remember, that was the whole thing. Everyone was like, "Do you want someone who's a technocrat or someone who's a career politician?"
Yeah, most people want technocrats.
Yeah,
I mean, now that we have technocrats and all, do you think people are happier? Do you think the average Canadian's happier?
I mean,
with our leadership.
I don't know.
Start with our leadership, and then we can go on average.
I mean,
our
leadership is yes. I think people are a lot happier with our leadership.
I think so. Yeah.
Trudeau is very unpopular.
Okay,
but people are definitely I think things just suck. So people are not generally happy, but I think Carney, I think people like Carney.
I think he's one of the few bright spots. Like I said, approval rating 62. Apparently, it hasn't been this high since 70s or the 80s, but. Yeah, everything else, I don't know. The average Canadian's not doing that well. I think global happiness report or happiness index, or Arya, what was it?
It was the World Happiness Report. If I pull it up right here as well,
just dropped.
It was the World Happiness Report 2026. Yeah. And this one primarily focused on the complex relationship between social media use and youth well-being. Yeah. We kind of talked about this, I think, a few episodes ago, where we talked about teen mental health days. And it's funny, we were talking about this before this report came out, right? Mm-hmm. And we were kind of talking about, how are kids doing? And we kind of came to a similar conclusion as to what's being illustrated in the report, which I thought was interesting. It's a bad thing to predict, but shout out to us for this is literally proof of concept that not all of our conversations are pure garbage.
Yeah, that is validating. That is true.
You know what I mean?
That is true. I mean, well, what was the rank? Where is Canada in terms of our happiness?
Okay, so Canada. I'm trying to find out where Canada ranked. Do you want to hear the top 10?
Sure, give us the top 10.
Let me give you the top 10 because that's what I have right now. Luke can find where Canada is for a second.
We all know the top 10 is going to be the fucking...
Tell me. How about this? Tell me and I'll tell you how close you get. Let's go through the
Scandinavian. It's all Europeans. I can guarantee you it's all Europeans.
Yeah. It's not all Europeans.
I think one Singapore.
Australia.
There's two countries that are not European.
In the top 10. Only two.
In the top 10. Only two that are not European. Yeah. Okay. By the way, specifically the decline that was highlighted in this report was North America and New Zealand. So New Zealand, Australia, Canada, Mexico, and the US all had serious declines.
Oh, okay. So Australia is out of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Nordics, the Sweden, Norway, Finland.
Yes.
Switzerland.
Yes.
Switzerland. What are the other Nordics?
Okay, so going from
Sweden.
So Sweden was fifth, right? You said Norway.
Yeah.
Norway was 6th.
Finland.
You said Finland. Finland was 1st.
Okay.
Switzerland is 10th.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Think more Northern Europe.
Hungary?
No, that's not. Hungary is not on there.
Denmark?
Denmark is third.
Yeah,
okay. Denmark is third. Sorry. There's 3 that are not. No, this one's European, I think.
Which one's the one that you're not sure of?
Turkey?
No,
it wouldn't be Turkey though.
What are we talking? This man said Hungary and Turkey. Those guys.
Turkey, you're right.
They're not doing great. There's two countries that have opposite geographies and opposite names.
Oh, Greenland and Iceland.
Yeah, but only one of them's on this list.
So it's definitely Iceland.
Iceland. The one is that in Europe? That's the one that was
Yeah, Iceland is in Europe.
Iceland's in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Iceland's second.
Yeah, of course.
So there's two more European
So
ones.
you're missing 4th, you're missing 7th, you're missing 8th, and you're missing 9th.
Okay.
So two more European
like
ones.
Spain? Fuck
No, Spain. Nope.
No, actually, they hate each other in Spain.
Not like
France.
Nope.
Italy?
Nope.
Fuck no.
Germany?
Nope.
No. Those guys all hate their lives.
They're working too much.
Yeah.
Those
are the actual Europeans that do shit.
Yeah.
Though, like, you gotta keep, like, who's, like, I don't know, are you the European guy?
I'm
like,
looking at the list. What do you mean?
Okay, fine.
You're asking me to guess.
The last two.
Wait.
I'll give it. Okay.
What's the name of the place?
Do you want a clue?
The two that are not European.
There's one. The 7th place country smokes a lot of weed.
Jamaica?
In Europe, Luke.
Well, no, you guys haven't named the outside of Europe ones.
Yeah, that's
they're
right.
They're in this as well.
Yeah.
But no, not Jamaica.
Not Jamaica. What European country
Jamaica's
smokes a
not
lot of
the
weed?
top 10 happiest places.
Amsterdam.
Netherlands.
Yeah, Netherlands. Sorry,
Yeah,
I was looking for the
Netherlands is 7th. Yeah.
Netherlands.
So you're missing 8th, 9th, and 4th.
Okay,
Two
so
of them are out of Europe.
the out of Europe ones, are they in the same continent?
No,
Okay.
not even close.
So it's not Japan, not Singapore.
Do you guys want to try for that last European one first?
Yeah.
No, I
It's
gave up on
close to
Europe.
Switzerland.
I gave up on Europe already.
It's close to Switzerland.
Austria.
No, it's French.
It's
Close to
Andorra.
Belgium as well.
Andorra. You're the European dude here. I don't know.
Luxembourg.
Okay, I would have not.
Luxembourg
I
is
would
not.
not. Isn't that like a city state?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But that's well, come on, dude.
that counts.
It counts, dude.
All right.
Cash
Okay, so
money.
the non-European one.
Non-Euro, so 4th and 8th place.
So it's not Japan, not Singapore.
Give us the continent that they're on.
South America is one of them.
Huh?
Yeah,
Argentina.
no.
Fuck no, dude.
Argentina's been on a great run though.
No. like the bars in hell.
Yeah, well, their poverty, their poverty rates have halved in the
Is it
past.
the
couple
Cayman
years.
Islands?
It was
It's
like
not, no.
30% like inflation, dude.
They were, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's not argue about that. South America.
South
Chile?
America. Nope. Closer.
Okay, closer.
Peru.
Peru.
Closer.
Guadalupe.
Oh, sorry, no. Peru's not closer. Peru's farther.
So it's like bottom half probably of South America.
Actually, is it South America or is it North America?
God. Tell me.
Mexico?
Very close to Mexico.
Honduras.
Cuba.
No,
why would it be
you
Cuba?
went too far west. Think south of Mexico.
Guatemala.
Very close. What's right next to Guatemala?
I don't know.
2 words. We almost chose
Costa
this.
Rica?
Yes.
Oh,
Costa
really?
Rica.
That makes
Costa
sense.
Rica's 4th happiest place in the
Okay,
world.
and then the last one is in
The
where?
last one is in the Middle East.
In the Middle East.
UAE.
Dubai?
No.
Qatar.
No.
Why are you smiling?
Why would I
Iran?
be smiling? No.
Iran?
No. Not Iran, but
Israel.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
8th.
Wow.
There you go. That's the list.
There's probably some like people that were found that extremely frustrating, but you know what? Look, I'm proud of myself.
So
I know, right?
the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand rank between 122 and 133 out of 136 countries in terms of happiness changes for under 25.
Yeah, so I was gonna say this is the stat I was specifically looking into. The reason why Canada dropped so drastically is because when you look at the happiness index of people over the age of, I believe, 40, we are in the top 10. But when you look at the under 25, as you can see here, we dropped to position 71.
Wow.
Insane.
And the only 3 other countries that have ever experienced this in history since we've started doing this in history is Iraq, Lebanon, and a country that I believe no longer exists. Like in the video, they were
Malawi.
basically talking about like,
Malawi definitely exists.
I think it does, yeah.
No, like sorry, the government or something like running it is like just completely
gone.
fucked.
Okay.
But like they were saying like Lebanon's always like in war, and Iraq is literally run by the Taliban, and Canada is the fourth country in that
That's
list.
insane.
So
you said Iraq or Afghanistan?
Afghanistan, sorry.
I'm looking at the list and I'm like, that is not
No,
what
yeah,
you
it's
said.
Afghanistan.
This is why again I'm proud of myself for that geography segment, even though I struggled. This is my skill
Proud of you
level.
too,
This is
Luke.
my skill level when it comes to geography.
Yo, that's insane, man.
But yeah, like that's, dude, like under 25, they are not happy, man. They're not doing well.
I mean, we're doing okay.
Mm.
I don't know that we're doing well either.
We're above 25.
So the basically the report talks a lot about how most of this is coming from, like they're trying to equate it to social media use and the way that's kind of intertwined in young people's, because we could sit here and have the conversation and say, oh yeah, it's because young people can't afford to buy a home, whereas this
Well,
and
yeah,
that.
that's why I'm not happy.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're also over 25, right? Like, let's say we're talking about the people under 25. I'm also not, happy about that too, right?
But your money bags, you can buy a home.
Not in this economy.
He's like, so I'm joking. Yeah,
like
sorry.
I think like generally like the wider conversation is definitely around social media. I think like in the case of Canada, they were saying that like a lot of it is actually pointed towards housing specifically, because it's like there's a variety of degree of factors, but like the high level of it is like the way our economy has worked is we put all of our value into not creating additional services, but in assets basically.
Yeah.
So we've pushed all our value mostly towards things
Into
like
homes.
housing,
Yeah.
which is why like our parents are actually 100% correct from their perspective when they're like only invest in housing, because like that's literally been the play. Try to buy a house as much as you can. Try to be as over leveraged as much as you can, as early on as you can, because that's the winning strategy. And then it's like all the youth is completely impossible. Like the stats I think I was reading into is the average young homeowner in Vancouver receives a cash gift from their parents of $180,000. The average person in Toronto that's able to, in Toronto, it's $130,000 in cash gifts for young people who can own a property. And then the median, I think, throughout Canada is about $70,000. Cash
gift
from parents.
Yeah, it's like them putting money towards like a down payment or something. Yeah.
Like when you think about like those numbers as entry points,
That's insane.
it's tough, man.
That's
It's
insane.
tough.
Yeah. Well, there was also another thing in this document where they asked, okay, so there was a willingness to pay study. So,
Willingness to pay. Okay.
yeah,
Tell us more.
they found out while students would demand money to stop using Instagram or TikTok, they would actually be willing to pay to have the platforms eliminated from their community entirely.
Interesting.
Which I thought was a very interesting part of the read, and I can open it up a little bit further.
I guess anecdotally that kind of makes sense, right? It's kind of like if
Well, they
other
did a
people
study.
are using it. Well, I mean, like more so just like the logic behind like why they would be willing to pay to get rid of it versus like, but they still use it. It's kind of like if other people are using it, you're kind of pressured to use it.
Yeah.
But it's like you'd almost prefer to just not have
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. I remember a long time ago when I deleted Snapchat, there was definitely a sense of FOMO for a second.
Yeah.
You know, where I was like, oh, like, should I do this?
Yeah.
It was actually triggered by, a traumatic event, which made it easier. Right. But like, I know I had been contemplating it for a while. So, and I know that was difficult to do, to like let go of that and not be in the loop. And the same thing with Instagram, in the past year, where I had been, if you guys remember, I'd been talking about it for a while, but that detachment is always just like a scary step to take, I think,
Very scary.
especially when you're so used to it and it's a natural part of your community.
For sure.
Yeah. This is super insightful, man. Like, geez.
But I think like generally speaking, right, like people call it happiness, but it's like really like it's more so like I think fulfillment in a way. And it's like when you feel like the path to fulfillment is not very easy, it's like it's tough. I was literally having this conversation with like my girlfriend yesterday. I was like we were talking about having kids basically, and I was like, I think it's scary today when you think about things like having kids, because it's like, for example, anecdotally, again, a lot of what I say is anecdotal, but like my family friend, there's these two kids. One of them went to Waterloo for comp eng and the other one went to U of T for comp eng, right? Amazing schools. Like one guy got like an internship at like I forgot what the brand was, but like I knew it. Like it was a recognizable tech startup in Toronto. Another guy went to work for like TELUS or something. Basically, have like a couple internships under their belt. They're about to enter the workforce and like no offers in the market, right? And it was like one of those things where they actually legitimately didn't do anything wrong. Like you think about like 6 years ago, software, very lucrative, right? Like it was starting to get a little bit more competitive, but it's like given their specific career trajectory, they didn't go to like a lower tier university. They got co-op. They went and did all the right things. And their parents kind of set them off on the right path, got them tutoring, did all this stuff for them. And what? They couldn't have predicted Claude Code was going to come out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who could have predicted that? And it's like, you think about these cycles of change, like they're getting fast, man. And it's faster. Like, it's scary. And I was kind of saying to her, this is very like, this is a Scott G from Prof G, like his mentality. And like, I think it's a little idealistic, but like, I do believe in it. And it's like, one of the things I almost think about, I'd want to have, because we were talking about the happiness thing. Like, I know this is very idealistic, but like ideally, I'd love to have enough money so that my kids can have freedom in the sense of choosing to do what they want.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this, like, it's hard for someone to be like, I want to just be an elementary school teacher, or I want to just be like, I don't know, like a postal worker, let's say, right? Like funny enough, Fargo, there's that guy that wanted to be a postal worker. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, if you choose to be the postal worker, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to like live in Toronto. We still need mail in Toronto. And it's like, so it's like, well, you know what helps? Like if your kid's like, I want to be a postal worker, and you have like, I don't know, like $500,000 invested for him, then he's allowed to be the postal worker.
Whatever he wants.
You know, like you have that much invested early on into his life, then when he becomes an adult, he can create that level of freedom for his kids, not through his career, right? It's kind of like, again, like super idealistic, so many different factors going on there, but more so just like kind of saying like, just anecdotally seeing a lot of these examples where it's like, it seems like the requirements to hit a lot of these steps that previous generations might have not considered. And don't get me wrong, there was other things going on in previous generations. It's just like, my thought process is like, how do I make the money to make that happen?
Yeah.
And it kind of has to also like happen in the like next like 10 years, right? Like if
your kid's not gonna want to, even if you have a kid in the next few years, they're not gonna want to be a postal worker in the next 10 years. But like, I get what you're saying.
No, but like even in the sense of like, let's say you want to set that direction, like your partner is probably going to want to have kids at a certain time. They have a certain biological clock. So it's also like, you don't have infinite time to establish these things in a way. No. If you want to live that like idealistic life where you're having a kid at a decent age and like, you know, like they're growing up while your career is progressing. Like, I don't know, just like what we used to think was going to be the case, I guess.
Yeah, life is always going to change. But yeah, I think definitely it's scary for the kids because you don't know what's going to happen. And like all these new technologies like affect them, you know, so much stronger, I think, than they affect, because we're dealing with, let's say, like the rise of AI and the fear of, you know, jobs being adjusted. But, you know, we're adjusted. We're in the market, you know what I mean? We can adapt and like, you know, take advantage of being early entrants, you know what I mean? But when this technology has a chance to mature, you know what I mean? It's the people who come after us that are going to see the full effect of what, you know, AI and things like this are capable of doing. So there's always going to be like a degree of latency, I think, towards seeing this in action. But the kids will be okay. That's my opinion.
They'll always be okay.
I think the kids will be okay. I think they'll figure it out. They'll probably be smarter than us for it too. We're smarter than our predecessors, I'd say, for, you know, being able to handle all of this technology and juggle it in our brains and not let it slow us down. You know what I mean? Because our brains have just been trained to do this since day one, you know? So they'll have an advantage. It's up to them to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, that's my take.
I mean,
on the kids.
To maybe even close on that, I think to Luke's point and maybe a little to yours, like, you're right. It's the kids behind us, like our kids that are going to feel it. It's the same way our parents were there when the housing boom started and we got to enjoy it. And now we're feeling it and we live pretty good lives. Like, being completely honest. Okay? Like we just, because the floor is so high, like, you know, our expectations are even higher, right? And that's where it is. But we're figuring it out right now, you know. And just like Arya is saying, hopefully the kids will figure it out. And I think the last thing I wanted to add to is what is happiness? Like in and not some esoteric. This is not to start this conversation all over because we want to talk about something a little bit more fun coming up. Is Luke and I were talking about this, and I was telling Luke I think this is the happiest era of humans ever. And obviously, we got into a little bit of a disagreement that was very nuanced and I think very important, which got to the crux of what is Luke measuring happiness by versus what am I measuring happiness by. And for that conversation, I remember Luke brought up something that really changed the way I think about things, which was, I think the stat or the metric KPI you were using to measure happiness was how often do you see your family? Was that what it was? Was how often?
Yeah, it was for example, that could be a KPI.
Yeah, that could be a KPI. Yeah. Like, how often do you see your family and friends? Like, how often, like in person, right? And I would say, like, for me, it's a lot less. I would think, like, in our generation, it's probably a lot less than in generations in the past, right? I don't know. I would think, anecdotally, and if you measure it like that, I think, you might see that nuance. I was measuring it by the level of education, like
health,
like in terms of like people's lifespans being longer and life expectancy being higher. I was measuring it in terms of just like average income, like like just relative, like whether it's inflation adjusted or not, like it's still higher no matter which way you slice it. And we're doing that. And I guess just to highlight for the report, for the World Happiness Report, they took 6 factors in to measure happiness. Number 1 was GDP per capita, which is like standard. Like, when we're saying the floor is higher for us, like, we're saying we can't afford a home, but we live a pretty nice life right now. We have a decent amount of disposable income. Mr. Vegas over here, Mr. Travel the World skiing over there, Mr. I'm broke. I don't do that much. I'm joking.
The PR campaign that Delaware has been doing.
He's trying really hard to do it too.
Pierre, take notes.
Pierre, you gotta help me. There's also
we know how much money you make.
Cool. There's healthy life expectancy. There's healthy, and that's part of the health.
Yeah.
As well, like in terms of just healthcare and how much it's better. Like people are living longer, so they measure that. Now here's the part where you added the nuance. Having someone to count on, that's incredible. Like
that's a KPI in the report.
It's social support.
Yeah.
Which is like the family, how often you see them.
Yeah, it's like how
your
often
friends
do you see your family, and like your friends, like because you have like there's circles of friends. There's the friends you can count on. Like I'm in trouble. I'm lucky I have you guys. Like like I went to the emergency room. This nigga stayed with me, which was I was shook. I was like, damn, I didn't know I had friends like that. And like
he's expecting to get dropped off like a piece of meat. I'm like, it's like 4 a.m. I'm concerned for him. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm like, if they don't see you in the next 20 minutes, you're gonna die.
And I'm like, all right, no, like, don't worry, go sleep. Like, I'll survive. And like, I'll just giving an example of having someone to count on. Like, I count myself lucky to have that, but. That's something like that happiness should be measured by. And I think it's incredible. A sense of freedom. I know that matters to me a lot. Like just the ability to do whatever you want, like in a society. I know in Nigeria, like that was something, it was hard. It was tough to experience. Like me and my girlfriend, we talk now, or maybe it's my mom. I don't know if it's my girlfriend or my mom. I mix up now. They all worry about me, I guess, is what happens. But it's more they're like, don't go out. Don't you guys are
dead. The category is just women that feel something positive towards me.
Yeah, that's it. That's
my girlfriend or my mom. I can't tell anymore.
Just women that just worry about me, even though like, there's no reason to be worried.
We're gonna unpack that at a later date.
Yeah, that probably needs to be unpacked. But I bring that up to say like going out at night, right? In Nigeria, that was like a big no. And like just being able to go out in Canada like at night and go do and like not be worried like, oh, it's full. Ooh, I remember it was when we were going to Ottawa. Like me and my cousin were trying to drive to Ottawa at like 4 a.m. or like 6 a.m. So and like you were like, oh, you got to be careful. I'm like, hey man, like actually, I think this is the time where like if anything, like not to be reckless, but like this is where we have the most bandwidth the fuck up, because the roads are free. Like, I don't, like, I'm not worried about getting robbed. If it was in Nigeria, it'd be the exact opposite. Yeah. Where, like, you only want to be traveling during daylight, like at night.
It's busy.
You don't want to stand out, yeah.
You don't want to stand out. So just the sense of freedom, generosity, that's very interesting. Like, in terms of, like, happiness. I don't know if this is them receiving generosity or them giving out generosity. I don't know.
Probably just, like, the capability for generosity in any context,
so
right?
Yeah, like how full is your cup in terms of you being able to give? Possibly, Arya will probably help us verify. And then the last thing in terms of, again, these are the factors and the KPIs that they used to measure happiness, was perceptions of corruption. And I like that specifically because it's the perception of,
it's not the actual, presence of corruption.
This is true.
If you
does it appear free and full?
Do you think things like it's fair? Do you think the system is fair? Do you think like things are happening the way they're supposed to? Do you think someone's out to get you or someone's against you? Do you how big is the chip on your shoulder? Because if you have a chip on your shoulder, you're not the happiest person in the world. Like if the system's out to get you, you're not the happiest in the world. So I really like that. And I wanted to just share that because I know like myself, and from our conversations, like happiness, even sometimes like my girlfriend would ask me, are you happy? And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I'm fine. I feel good today. I feel fine today, but I don't know if that means happiness. So just sharing, these KPIs and these factors that a report came with. And I think just what's most important is there's the hard things about like your physical life, there's the social things, and then there's also like at least this perception, like a sense of freedom, the perception of corruption. There's also not just maybe not the most tangible things, but the things that we think or how we think about these tangible things. So I just wanted to add that as well.
Generosity is the social tendency within a culture to give and donate. So they basically ask, have you donated money to a charity in the past month?
Got it.
And from that, they can take kind of based on like expected GDP, they can understand how much generally people are giving, and then they do rankings based on that and trying to find correlations.
Okay,
that's pretty good. Yeah, it makes it more tangible. Yeah.
So it's not like it's a propensity. It's the propensity of how likely giving is in society as a whole. Yeah.
I feel like one of the
relative to the individual. Sorry.
I feel like one of the things I wanted to say was I found that like freedom KPI that you indicated there like really interesting because I think like what's the word? Like the way that you described it is like objective freedom in a sense of like almost like, are you free to like move? Are you free to like do things in a way where it's like you're like, is your safety like guaranteed in that sense, right? And I think like that's probably where that's coming from. But like one of the things I was kind of thinking about anecdotally in terms of like feeling about happiness is like when we think about freedom, I think one thing that our generation probably feels is like there's a way that you have to live life in order to be successful. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's not that like you're forced to do this, but it's kind of like if you want to continue to have your social circles and, for example, to have kids and all these things, these are the things that are required, right? Like it's like it comes in the form of like today, like formally at my office, it's a day off, right? I got on a call. There was like a guy that like got on a call. He had a kid, right? And he was basically telling me like he might run late because like he has a PA day and like he's coming back from something for his kid. And I'm like, wow, like this guy's like hustling to like make this call. And I'm like, and the reason he is because, he wants his kids to like be able to go to rec and all this stuff. And like, he needs to make money. And like, if he doesn't make money, his kid can't do these things. You know what I mean? And it's like, damn, like, it's, you know what I mean? And funny enough, it's like, there's that, were you the one saying this? Like, there's that classic saying where it's like, there's a man like fishing on like the beach and then like a rich person's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I go out catch fish with my family. And he's like, oh, why don't you go and get like more boats? And then he's like, why would I get more boats? And he's like, oh, you can get a fleet and then you can have a big fishing company and then eventually you can sell the fishing company and come and fish, right? And he's like, that's what I'm fucking doing now. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like,
nice.
In that person's goal, I'm just making this up, but like it's like to set his son up for success so he can have a great relationship with him and have this guy like live an amazing life. But it's like another way you can do that is just like not work and spend time with them. You know what I mean? It's like anecdotally speaking, I think like there's these like almost new issues that are being created with technology. That's like the freedom is no longer just like this, but it's also like the freedom of like not having information constantly thrown at us and like not having all these like hyper visualization, hyper like information density. Like it's just, I don't know like how humanity reacts to that stuff over time. Right. Yeah, that was just a thought I had.
One thing we were talking about too is home ownership. So it's not explicitly mentioned as like a standalone variable, obviously, but it would probably fit into either GDP or freedom life choices. I'd probably say freedom of life choices as opposed to GDP because that's more of a spending ability. You can spend on whatever you want, but like investing in property is like central to
freedom.
You know, like a choice that someone wants to make. Absolutely. You know what I mean, with their lives. So, you know, whether they can do it, they just have to go into extreme debt. Not really much of a choice.
That's one of the reasons why people wanted to like inhabit North America was so they could own things.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So it's like in a weird way, that's kind of the foundation of where we live.
Yeah, freedom is
so we can own.
And freedom is embedded in like the zeitgeist here in North America.
And I just want to say to, I don't remember who commented this, but this is the reason that we're filming this podcast. It is not because we are experts, but it's because I personally think I would love to just know what someone else our age in a different country is thinking in this day and age in 2026. Because all I know is I'm trying my best. I'm trying to keep up with information. I feel like I'm trying to do my best to give value to society and have a good career and all this stuff. And I don't know what the fuck to do, man. But like, I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm making the best I can with my information. And it's like, when you're like, oh, like this is wrong. Yeah, I'm not like, you know what I mean? I'm 27. Like, obviously I'm going to be wrong a lot of times, but it's like, I hope like if you're someone out there and like watching this, cause like most YouTube videos I watch, dude, is just like someone being like, someone basically saying a bunch of stuff and then it ends in like a very open-ended way that kind of makes you feel good. But all I'm here to say is like, on the happiness thing, like I feel you, like I struggle with this stuff, like, and I think that perspective is important. That's all I'm saying. Like, I think it's important to be able to see like a regular person, like where you go to a cafe and you just talk to someone and be like, oh yeah, like you're experiencing these things. And like, that gives you a level of comfort, right? Like, we're lacking those like fucking third spaces or whatever. There's all this like information on there. So maybe like in a weird way, I think of this almost as like a digital third space so that you can like see three guys in their mid to late 20s, just like, you know, like just
I'm in my
trying.
early 20s. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're not in your early 20s.
Jesus Christ.
You are not.
I'm just like sick of you trying to make narratives for yourself. All right, you make good money and you're almost 27.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
The mid is stretching it. Actually, I gave you some credit.
You're literally in less than a month you'll be 27. So
I got a final question to end the podcast.
Yeah.
Do you think Kanye is happy?
tune in next week to hear our thoughts on that.
Kanye is definitely happy, bro.
Kanye's definitely happy with extra $33 million in the bank.
Man, I'm joking. Yeah, we can't talk about that today, but I was like, that would be a great way to end.
You could probably go through it. We had
that's fine.
We had like a 6-minute intro.
Yeah, we're all good. We can talk about that next time. That'll be some extra juice. If you want to hear us talk about Kanye and how the world might be coming around to him once again for his 6th or 7th act. I think Dolpo and I were running this through. We were like, hey, Kanye West has had probably 6 or 7 acts in his life, right? So easily there was the OG, like early 2000s, Pink Polo Kanye, right? And
Pink Polo.
And then there was his mom passing. Right, and there was 808s and Heartbreaks, and then there was like a transitionary end of that into the new era, which was My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
And then Watch the Throne.
I was gonna say
like Dior suit Kanye.
Dior suit with Jay-Z and Power, the Power team right there. Yeah. That was the next era, and then the one after that was his Jesus era.
Yeah, no. Then there was the Life of Pablo and Yeezus.
We're putting that in the same thing because he was like, I'm a god, and in those ones basically it was all about the charity.
started with
and
blasphemy, and it was like, oh no, actually, like no, God is God.
So
I am a god.
then-
No, I worship God.
Yeah.
And then he went from that to being a Nazi, right? And then
No. Dude, you forget it. Like,
What did I forget?
like with Life of Pablo, then he went full like gospel.
Yeah, he
like,
went gospel.
I'm not like Life of
it's
Pablo
still the
was
same era because it's God. It's like God, Jesus.
That's the
different.
the gospel era is the Sunday service
the
era.
Sunday service
fine.
era. Yeah.
That's fine. And so he had that, and then he went Nazi.
Yeah, then he went Nazi.
And now we're on the so he's done 7 acts, right? So we're now on the cusp of 8. If the world accepts him, we might see a new becoming of Kanye West.
Kanye West.
The world might accept him
No,
again.
his name is Ye. He changed his name.
Yeah,
Kanye West is the modern Sigmund Freud. Remember this statement?
Oh, God.
We'll talk about Kanye. I think people will like us talking about
Yeah,
Kanye.
no. And I imagine by the time we talk about him, there will be so many more developments.
Has there been a single person, like just to end off the podcast, has there been a single person more polarizing, like that's like not like a politician than Kanye, like in our lifetime?
I don't know. It's tough competition. You have O.J. Simpson. You have Michael Jackson.
All right, people have hit the
You have
peak, but
Jeffrey
like,
Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein's not a political figure. He just
Epstein might
Epstein might be.
Epstein's pretty
He
insane.
might have stole the thunder from Kanye for a bit there.
yeah, Epstein or Diddy.
Diddy's a good one too.
It was Diddy.
Diddy's a good one too.
Kanye's more polarizing than Diddy.
Would you say Caitlyn Jenner?
Caitlyn Jenner, for a moment there, she
Yeah, it
was
was flash in the pan.
Yeah. For a moment
She's probably
there,
broke now. Like no one cares.
And you know what?
she was the only
She
reason
wrote
people
off Kanye.
the only reason people cared about Caitlyn Jenner was because she was part of the Kardashian family.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
what I was gonna
Otherwise
say,
nobody else
yeah.
would really care.
Yeah.
Kardashians,
Yeah.
they're pretty polarizing. But yeah,
Also attached to Kanye.
I think OJ and Epstein are pretty good contenders
Yeah.
for like most polarizing of the past of, let's say, like this current century that we're in so far.
Next episode, maybe we should
Kanye, Epstein, and OJ.
we should like look into like
OJ was 90, late 90s or early 2000s? Early 2000s.
Late 90s.
Late 90s?
the sports or the controversy.
The controversy. No one cared about, like, okay, not that no one cared about OJ before he was the juice, but like his notoriety took another level after the crimes.
Yeah. It's like asking, like, there's so many people in the world that don't know who Mahomes is. Like Gigante.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Mahomes just needs to kill someone and everyone will.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean.
So many people know who Aaron Hernandez is.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about with like OJ. Like OJ was popular, but to like a certain section of the population, and then he killed someone, and then it was like now. But like, I knew about OJ. in
Really,
Nigeria.
it was the trial for OJ
Yeah, it was the
that put him in the, because no one cares about Aaron Hernandez.
So if you're like
Right?
a
And,
B,
yeah, they similar. Well, not similar career path. Like obviously OJ was a much better football player.
yeah,
but,
that's
football player to murder pipeline is what I was talking about.
OJ single-handedly.
Good amount of them, bro. What the hell? And there's like
It's the
there's
CT,
Michael
yeah.
Vick. There's Michael Vick too, bro.
No, Michael Vick is fine. Don't defame Michael Vick.
Yeah, but he beat dogs.
He had a well.
That's
I'm not
so yeah, not a human, but he did. Yeah, it was the dogs that
Yeah,
did it
it
in
was the
for him.
dogs, yeah.
And Michael Vick is another, but not as polarizing as
No, Michael Vick is back on TV.
he is. Yeah, he
I
is.
did not even know this happened.
People forgave Michael Vick.
Did not know this
They
happened.
forgave him.
like,
Like,
he was a pit bull.
Nobody ever forgave OJ.
Well, didn't he like it was that was like a pretty it was a white woman, bro. Like, back
That's
then,
why
like,
it was so polarizing. That was the whole thing. So it became a race thing after that.
yeah, I
Right?
mean,
and then that was it after
And
that.
apparently OJ helped launch CNN. Like it was the first time like news was like 24/7.
Same.
with
OJ also helped launch the
Wow.
Yeah,
Kardashians.
yeah.
the
with
news
Kardashians.
cycle, like his
Yeah.
news cycle fed
With
it, eh?
CNN,
Wow.
yeah, his news made the business model for 24/7 like news.
Because everyone wanted to know,
what was the
was
latest?
he doing? You
Yeah.
know, everyone wanted the next car chase. They wanted to be there when the next car chase happened.
And now I want a Ford Bronco.
And now you
Well,
want a
lucky
Ford?
for
You
you,
actually want a
they're-
Ford Bronco?
I think it's cool.
They're cool cars.
Yeah,
they're very cool
Like
cars.
I don't know that
The
I
older
would.
ones are cooler than the newer ones.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know that I would spend my money to buy. Maybe I lease one for like
So
2
whose
years.
money would you spend on it? You want to spend my money? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll buy you a
Look
Ford
at that
Bronco.
money
I'll buy-
bags. I'm
I'll buy
telling you
I'll buy
guys,
you a
man.
Ford Bronco.
Fuck. To the moon.
To the moon.
Luke shaking his head.
Arya going to the moon. I expect you to make a crypto with my name and pump and dump it.
There we go.
Yeah, I see that.
Alrighty. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to hearing us rant and talk about nonsense sometimes. But if you're unhappy, you should message us. We'd love to talk to you and
Message
make
Arya.
you not.
Yeah, don't
not
message.
happy.
Don't message us. D might respond.
If D responds, your life is over. I'm telling you right now. If D responds, you'll have no hope for anything else in your life ever again.
No, if I respond, you'll stop being unhappy. You'll be angry. I think that'll be better. I think that might be better though.
You know what? Empathy and spite can both get the job done. So,
He said for
yeah, and if you're angry enough, come to me. I'll tell you where he lives. All right. Till next time. One love.
faces.
buy Ron coin.